Hello. I think we are beginning to make progress. Some things still need to be figured out, like for you to work on that. But now we come to chapter 8. This is part 1 of chapter 8. In chapter 8, we're going to look at prepositions for the first time and the verb me. Okay, these are the two things we're going to treat in chapter 8. English grammar is very important for understanding Greek grammar as well. In English, a preposition shows the relationship between two words. Okay? It shows how two words are related together. Now there is a spatial relationship, which means showing where somebody can go to. For example, you can see this: rabbit can go. What? That's rabbit can go. Where? In the rabbit hole. So this is a preposition in English. In. So it's spatial because it's dealing with the space, and the space is rabbit hole. Or it can show a temporal relationship. Temporal. Here, John came before Jesus. Before is a preposition that tells the time when John came. That's a temporal relationship. Now, there's something called object of the preposition. Okay, very key to know this because it deals with cases. Object of the preposition, we use the term objective. And then there's also something called prepositional phrase. You're going to learn that in this lesson as well. But in English, we use all of those. Also, in English grammar, there is something called predicate nominative, which we don't hear much about, we don't talk about, and it deals with the verb to be. The verb to be is am. Am, when you say I am, the word am means is the verb to be. So, predicates something about the subject. The verb to be predicates. Predicate, it says something, it describes something about the subject of that sentence. So it is good to say it is I. It is I. But the I is saying something about the subject, it. And the is your to be verb. Coming now to Greek prepositions and Greek cases. Very important to note the relationship between the preposition and the case that follow them. There is a connection between the case and object. And then following that, you come at the meaning of the preposition. Okay? When you connect the preposition with the case of the noun that follows it, the case of the object, which is the noun that follows it, and then you will determine the meaning of the preposition. You have to do those two first. Here is a preposition, here is the case that the object that follows it in this case, and therefore this is its meaning. Some prepositions are followed by the same case all the time, but some prepositions are followed by multiple cases. Become clear. In some situations, a preposition is only followed by one case. one case all the time. For example, apo, apo will always be followed by a noun in the genitive. So its object will always be in the genitive. Apo means away from, and the object, the case that follows it, has to be in the genitive all the time. Pros is a preposition meaning to, towards, or with. It will always be followed by an accusative. Its object will always be in accusative. But sometimes you have a preposition that takes two cases. For example, meta, which means with, can be followed by a genitive. Sometimes meta, which means after, is followed by an accusative. So meta, to mean with, you know it means with if the direct object, if its object is genitive. Meta, you know it means after if its object is accusative. I know that's a little bit tricky, but that's the situation. Sometimes a preposition can take three cases. That is crazy, but that is what Greek does for you. But that will come about. So it is important then that you memorize the prepositions and their cases. And you can use a flashcard for one if it means from, or a flashcard for one if it means with. Just depending on the case of the preposition, of the object of the preposition, make a card for each preposition. You can ask me this when we do talk during class. Prepositions do not use keywords. Apotheu is from God. But theu is in the genitive, it doesn't mean from of God. It's in the genitive because apo is the preposition that comes before it. And prepositions are never inflected. That means they don't take a genitive, nominative, accusative, or dative. They are not inflected. But there's something called elision, the elide, and this is what it means. You have here meta auton. Meta auton. Okay? After him. Now notice that meta ends with an alpha, auton begins with an alpha, which means that the alpha of the preposition, we talked about this some time ago, the alpha of the preposition drops, and then now you have met with a circumflex. You have met. When that happens with meta, it ends now with tau. That tau then becomes theta. Don't be worried, this will become easy to you. The tau becomes theta, and then the apostrophe. So it will be meth hemon. Meth hemon. The reason the tau becomes a theta is because hemon begins with a vowel. That is why. Okay? Write down your questions and you can ask me when we talk. So that is called elision. Elision. Meta auton becomes met auton. Okay? Met auton. But why did the tau not become a theta? We need to figure that out. So see if you can figure that out before me. Then meta hemon becomes meth hemon. Oh, I see why. It becomes theta. Tau becomes theta because the next word begins with a vowel and a rough breathing. Before it was met auton, but it begins with an alpha, but it does not have a rough breathing on top of it. That's the difference. Now, so the key with prepositions is you need to be able to parse them. You need to be able to parse them. We will ask you, what is the meaning of this preposition? This, you will answer like this. What is the meaning of, let's say, apo? You will answer this way. Apo with the genitive means from. Okay? That's something to be practiced. Apo with the genitive means from. Now, there's another way to ask the question. We can ask you, why is theu why is theou in the genitive form? Okay, let's say, why is theou in the genitive form? You will say theou is in the genitive form because it is the object of the preposition apo. That is in your book. Look up that section, read it for clarity. That text is from the preposition apo, that takes the genitive case. That is that. It's that easy. Up here, the preposition, you can say apo with the genitive means from. Theou is in the genitive because it is the object of preposition apo that takes the genitive.